Hello, my dear friend. Welcome for this presentation by the title that the 2 Key Pillars of Excellence in Your Academic Journey. My name is Meme JM, and I run a YouTube channel by the name Emily Swab Enterprises International. May you receive my heartfelt congratulations for making the wisest decision ever to become a student in your current institution at a time like this, when the world is looking for enlightened people that can play a vital role of making their world a better place than they have found it. I am therefore fully convinced that the main reason as to why you have joined your current institution is to not only acquire knowledge and skills that you can effectively apply to improve your current status, but also to enable you become a productive member of your family, your community, your country, and the world at large. May I thus take this golden opportunity to sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for making a decision to join other scholars in this academic journey by accepting to become a student in your current institution. I am fully convinced, beyond any doubts, that the main reason as to why the management of your current institution has admitted and enrolled you as one of their students is because it has found out that you have all what it takes to be the best in whichever course or program that you have been enrolled in. I therefore take this an opportunity to congratulate you for having qualified to join this academic journey through your current institution. May I also inform you that by just joining your current institution, that does not by itself guarantee you success in your academic journey, but your success is hidden in the application of certain key secrets of excellence in academics that distinguish between an honorary student, a good student, and an excellent student. This is because it's one thing to become a mere student in an institution like yours and graduate as an honorary student with an ordinary grade, but it's another thing to become a good student in an institution like yours and graduate in your studies as an excellent student with excellent grades. Therefore, what makes a difference between ordinary students with ordinary grades and excellent students with excellent grades is their level of knowledge about the key secrets of academic excellence and their commitment towards implementing them to the letter as they go through their studies. This means that if a student joins an institution of learning and he or she is not aware of these secrets of success in academics, such a student may not be able to enjoy his or her academic journey and may also not be able to achieve excellent performance that can match with his or her abilities. However, if a student gets to know about these secrets of excellence in his or her academic journey, and this student gets committed to implementing them to the letter, such a student is guaranteed to not only enjoy his or her academic journey, but he or she is also guaranteed to graduate successfully as a victorious candidate. It's my belief that by the mere fact that you have accepted to commence your academic journey through your current institution, you do not want to become just an honorary student or a good student, but want to become an excellent student who will not only enjoy his or her academic journey through this institution, but one who will also graduate with an extraordinary excellent grade in his or her field of study. It's therefore my pleasure to share with you these key academic secrets that will guarantee you excellent performance in your academic journey once you apply them. This is because I have also been able to not only apply them to excel in my academic journey, but they have also enabled me to climb the academic ladder to the topmost level possible. So what are these key academic secrets that I am calling the 32 key pillars of excellence in your academic journey? These 32 key pillars of excellence in your academic journey are as follows. Pillar number one. Pillar number one is called committing your academic journey into the hands of the Almighty God. My dear student, always remember that it has not been through your own effort that you have been able to reach this far in your life and in your academics, but it has taken the mighty hand of God. Always remember that any academic journey begins once you have committed it to God and acknowledged that He is the only one that can be able to see you through. Remember that there are many people that wanted to become students like you today and join your current institution, but they have not been able to. Secondly, there are those that joined your current institution, but they were not able to complete their studies due to many unavoidable circumstances such as sicknesses, deaths, among other reasons that were beyond their control. Now that you have joined this institution and started your new academic journey, don't just commence it blindly as if it's just natural and normal to join an institution like this and just go through your studies normally. You therefore need to commence this journey by seeking for the guidance and the protection of Almighty God so that He can see you through this journey. This is because the academic journey that you have commenced is not a simple journey if you decide to go through it without the mighty presence of God. However, out of experience in this journey, I can guarantee you that if you invoke the presence of God in your academic journey and seek for His guidance before you undertake any academic activity, you will always be assured of victory and comfort in your academic journey because your God will never forsake you. It is always important to remember that you, your body, and the brain that you possess have been bestowed upon you for free by your Creator, who is God, and He is the only one that can give you the ability to remember what you have learned, maneuver your way through your academic journey. It is God that knows where you are coming from, and it is Him that is aware of where you will be several years after you are through with your current studies. In addition, it is God who knows the purpose of your creation and your existence, and He is the only one that has enabled you to become a student in your current institution so that you can be able to accomplish even before you are conceived in your mother's womb. You should therefore always remember to thank Him for an institution and request Him to guide you and your steps and shape your memory so that you can be able to remember what or whatever that you will learn. In addition, always remember to commit all your teachers into the mighty hands of God. Remember that even the devil is not happy for you becoming a good person in the society, and therefore he may use by making them either get sick or even be absent from school, making some of them to discourage you by what they say about you or about the subject that they will be teaching you. Therefore, because you don't choose who will be your teacher, neither do you possess any powers to control them, remember to always commit all of them before the Almighty God so that He can use all the teachers for your good in your studies. Pray for your teachers so that God may use them as your destiny shapers and not your destiny and vision killers. Pray that God will give them the knowledge and the skills that they require to assist you and guide you to succeed. In addition, remember to commit your current institution into the hands of God so that He can prepare the way for you and ensure that every activity that will be taking place there and everything that will be spoken there will be of value to your academic life. Cleanse your current institution so that any altars of the devil that might have been erected in that institution to deter your success can be broken down, and the mighty altars of God. Therefore, pray for the good welfare of every person that will play any role in relation to your studies, including every teaching and support staff, every stakeholder, every student, as well as your parents or guardians, so that God may protect them from every evil and supply them with abundance blessings for your success and for the success of your fellow students. So, as you commence your academic journey in your current institution, remember to request the Almighty God to commence this journey with you and hold your hand so that you may never divert from the academic path which is supposed to lead you to your academic victory. In addition, as you wake up each day, remember to commit all your day's activities before you. And as you sleep each day, thank Him for what He has enabled you to do that day and seek for His protection as you sleep. Let the prayers be part and parcel of your daily routine. Pillar number two. Pillar number two is familiarizing yourself with the institution that you have joined. Familiarizing yourself with the institution that you have joined. As a student, you cannot be able to benefit maximally from an institution if you lack the basic details about it. It is therefore very important that you familiarize yourself with the following information about your new or current institution so that you can be able to fit in it and become part and parcel of it. Number one is finding out the exact official name of your institution. This is because sometimes the students and the staff in an institution tend to make use of certain name which is only internally and casually known by the members of that institution, and it may not be the known name by the rest of the members of the public. Knowing the official name of your institution is very important because it even helps you to be able to identify information written in papers and know whether that information is official or not. Number two is familiarizing yourself with the official institution's contact details, such as the telephone number, post office box, and email. This information will be very vital for you as a student and your guardians or parents when you or they want to communicate with the institution while away from the institution's physical premises. Number three is you should familiarize yourself with your institution's admission number, your index or registration number, the name and the code for the course you have been enrolled for, the names of the specific units or subjects that you will be taking and their respective codes, the name of your department and section, the name of the class that you have joined, the physical and or online venues from where you'll be attending your lessons from, the offices from where you'll be getting your other various services from, and the contact details for the various personnel or staff that you will be reporting to on various issues affecting your academic life. These details should include their phone numbers and the places where you can officially access them as guided by the institution. Number 4 is you should familiarize yourself with the official channels of communication that your institution applies so that you do not get misled while within the institution. Know which office or officer is in charge of what issue and how he or she ensures that the information reaches you as a student. Pillar number 3. Pillar number 3 is adhering to your institution's rules and regulations. Adhering to your institution's rules and regulations. Always remember that there is no academic institution that does not have a policy to guide the students on various issues ranging from their various overall discipline, how to relate with each other, examination regulations, and other aspects relating to a student's life while in school. You should get a copy for the students' rules and regulations, then go through them keenly so that you can know what is expected of you as a student as long as you are a student in this institution. Then, be keen to carefully adhere to all the rules and regulations as stipulated, regardless of whether they seem to oppress you or not, as long as you accepted to become part of students' body in this institution. Just remember that it's only by obeying those rules and regulations that you will be able to fit in that institution. So, always obey those rules and regulations to the letter. After all, those regulations will only govern you when you are in that institution, and very soon you will be exiting having attained your academic objective. Remember to keep a copy of those regulations and be going through them before you undertake any activity whenever you are in doubt about it. If on the very first day you receive the rules and regulations, you feel that there is something you don't understand, seek for clarification from those that will be orienting or welcoming you to the institution. Remember that it's only by being obedient to those rules and regulations that you'll be said to be disciplined. Always make it your individual responsibility to implement those rules and regulations to the letter without minding about whether you are being supervised or not. And once you internalize them and make them to become part of your individual practice, you'll be implementing them without even thinking about them. Otherwise, if you don't familiarize yourself with the institution's rules and regulations, you might find yourself in trouble by doing something that you might have grown knowing that it's not wrong, only for it to turn out to be wrong when executed in that institution. So, even if nobody provides you with those rules and regulations, make it your responsibility to seek for them by asking the teachers to provide you with them, or just pay a visit to the student's office in charge of students' welfare, or you just seek for them from the institution's administration. Pillar number 4. Pillar number 4 is possessing the required academic details, possessing the required academic tools. The academic institution that you have joined might have requested you to bring with you certain materials, tools, or devices that are meant to aid you in your learning process. Some of such requirements may include a given number and types of pens or pencils exercise and textbooks, mathematical sets and calculators, smartphones or laptops, drawing boards, amongst other tools or materials. It is therefore important that you do not ignore those requirements because they will play a key role in your academic journey. However, if you or your guardian or your parent are not able to meet any of those requirements, it is always important that they liaise with the admissions office for guidance early enough on the very first day of admission. Then, once you have those tools or materials, always remember to keep them safe with you and use them with caution so that they can be of benefit to you till you finalize with your academic journey in that institution. However, if you feel that you may not be able to keep them safely, always liaise with your subject teachers for assistance. Pillar number 5. Pillar number 5 is embracing the status of a student. Embracing the status of a student. As you commence this academic journey, you need to note that you have chosen to set yourself apart from those that have not become students like you, and therefore you need to adapt to a new status of a student and put aside any other status that you might have had outside there in the society. This means that by the fact that you have accepted to be called a student, you should put aside any other titles that you might have been having outside there in the society and embrace a new heart for a student. Therefore, it doesn't matter who you have been in the society. It doesn't matter who your parents are or their status. It doesn't matter where you come from or your background, but what currently matters is that you have now become a student, and thus you need to behave as a student. Don't bring to your current institution your status in the society, your lifestyles at home, or any other form of behavior that is not in tandem with the life of a student in your current institution. Simply put, don't expect the institution that you have joined to give you as an individual a similar school environment like the one you have had outside there. Remember that by accepting to become a student in your current institution, you have agreed to part from your previous behavior and embrace a student's behavior that is valued by your current institution. Now that you have accepted to become a member of your current institution, humble yourself, put your former status and expectations aside, and embrace the life of students in this institution so that you can be able to successfully go through your academic journey in this institution till you graduate. In addition, always remember that you are a student even while away from your institution. As a result, you should always create time for your studies and don't be ashamed to be known that you are a student in a certain institution. So, even as you perform your other chores at home to serve as a class, such that once you sit in that venue, you do all that appertains to a student. Never allow the various activities in the community deny you an opportunity to attend to your student activities. Let the members of the community and home know when you are studying, when you are attending to assignments, or when you are taking assessments from home so that they can give you the desired conducive environment for your studies. Similarly, if it happens that you are assigned other responsibilities within the institution, such as being a student leader in any aspect of the institution, remember that your core mandate here is to study. Therefore, don't allow that responsibility to override your overall objective of being a student. It's okay to play other responsibilities within your institution as a student, but don't turn those responsibilities to become your main objective. Otherwise, it would be foolish of you to fail in your academics with the reason that you spent most of your academic time attending to other students or activities that were not adding any value to your academics. You should learn to balance between your studies and your institution's family or community's activities so that they do not become detrimental to your studies. Pillar number 6. Pillar number 6 is controlling your emotions. Controlling your emotions. Sometimes your academic institution may request your parent or your guardian for certain provisions, such as paying some monies for certain activities or for acquisition of certain academic tools, materials, or facilities. When such happens, even if you had not been informed about it in advance, control your emotions and avoid the quarreling or fighting over it. In as much as you may not be comfortable with that decision, don't take it as your responsibility to complain because you are just but a student. What you should just do as a student is to alert your parent or guardian about the matter and then allow your guardian or your parent to deal with the matter in the best way possible. Always remember that in as much as you may not be comfortable with a decision made by the school or by your teachers, your role is still a student and not a parent. Therefore, if your institution makes certain requests that are supposed to be handled by parents and not by you as a student, don't act as a parent by playing a role or guardians to respond to the issue themselves. In addition, even if you are the one that funds your education, you should negotiate with the school or your teachers from a point of understanding and in a humane way on how you are going to handle the issue amicably. Similarly, if as a student you find out that there is something that is making you uncomfortable or there is a decision that has been made without your consent and that it may negatively affect your studies, just control your emotions and your reactions by taking some time to think on how you can deal with the matter. So, the best way to address any issue is to hold a cordial discussion with the staff in charge so that you can air your grievances or complaints. In fact, it's always important to make use of the self-grievance or complaint procedure to have your issues addressed. Otherwise, if as a student you decide to take the law into your own hands by resorting to physical ways of expressing your dissatisfaction, such as through strikes, looting, and destroying properties, such methods may lead you to unexpected negative effects that may become death to your life. After all, why take an action that will destroy your future as a young citizen in your country? Why magnify a problem to an extent of even losing your golden life as a student? Your life is special and important, and therefore always take good care for it by avoiding taking any action that may lead to your destruction. In case you have any grievances or complaints, or you are not comfortable with anything or about anything, always find the best approach and the best way to air your grievances. Remember that whenever you are in the midst of others or in an institution, there will always be something to make you unhappy in one way or another. This is because there is no human being that is perfect, and anyone is bound to make a mistake whether as a student or as a teacher. Therefore, whenever you experience such, never respond emotionally like through winning, yelling, shouting, being rude, etc. Simply put, never express your dissatisfaction through any means that might either show disrespect to others or affect either your studies or theirs, such as through fighting, holding destructive strikes, among other such similar activities. Always remember that you will not remain as a student in that institution forever, but you are just there for a certain duration of time. And once that duration elapses, you will vacate that institution through the set exit procedure. You should therefore avoid doing anything that might make you to terminate your studies prematurely or make you get expelled from that institution. This is because by doing so, you will have lost your focus and your track before you achieve your goals in life. Therefore, in case you are not satisfied with anything, or whenever anyone does something that makes you unhappy, respect everyone by following the set grievance procedure to have your issue aired and addressed. Always remember that reactions expressed through anger will always receive resistance and might receive dangerous reactions. So, never respond to anything while in anger and never respond to anything emotionally. In case you feel so much aggrieved that you can't talk calmly, just cool down, take some time to sober, and then approach the respective person calmly. For example, if it's your teacher that has angered you, wait for the lesson to end without expressing any emotional feelings or reaction during the lesson, and then approach him or her calmly and express your feelings after the end of the lesson. However, if you fear approaching that teacher, you can still approach another teacher and inform him or her about the matter so that he or she can intervene for you. But if you still cannot approach the teacher or any other teacher about the issue, approach a prefect or a class representative to intervene for you, or approach the teacher in the institution in charge of handling students' issues. It is therefore important to always figure out on how best you can express your complaints in a respectful and correct manner. In addition, even if it happens that there is no official method of handling complaints in your institution, just take it as a personal initiative to present your grievances to your teachers, head of department, or the office in charge of students' affairs, and do it as in an amicable and respectable manner. If none of the staff in your institution will listen to you, you can present your complaints to the nearest educational office or any other government office nearby in a peaceful manner and not by causing commotion to the institution or to the community around your institution. However, if there is no such office nearby, report your complaints to the nearest religious leader or to your parents or to any other member of the community nearby, and never, ever even imagine of taking any action that may either harm you, harm any other student or staff, or destroy your environment. Pillar number 7. Pillar number 7 is being positive about your academic institution. Being positive about your academic institution. You should always speak positively about your school, yourself, your classmates, all the staff in the institution, and about every aspect of the institution. This is because once you have become a student in your current school, even if it's for a single day, it will remain as your institution and it will become part of your history that you were one day a student there even if you transfer. Always remember that once you have joined this institution, it has become part and parcel of you because it is now your new academic home. You should thus never listen to those people that always speak negatively about your school or your teachers, but always look on the positive side of your school. Always remind yourself that your overall goal for joining this institution is to perform well in your academics. Always remember that once you have joined this institution, it has become part and parcel of you because it is now your new academic home. Therefore, and I repeat, never listen to those people that always speak negatively about your school or your teachers, but always look on the positive side of your school. I have repeated this section because if you listen to people that speak negatively about your teachers or about your school, you may never love this institution and you may never benefit from it. That your overall goal for joining this institution is to perform well in your academics. It is therefore your responsibility to always speak well about your current institution and be proud about it. After all, you are here just for a while and one day you will exit. Therefore, there is no need to continuously speak ill or negative about your institution or negatively compare it with other academic institutions. Your negative attitude will not change your current school to become like that other school. Always remember that every school has its strengths and weaknesses, and there is none without some problems. So don't look at the current problems in your institution and then you let those problems make you think that this is not a good school for you. After all, if it was not good or if it was not a good school for you, you could not have joined it in the first place. In addition, even if it happens that you did not know about the problems in your institution before joining it, don't think of changing from your current institution to another unless you are 100% sure that you know where you want to go. After all, you may never know the internal problems in an institution before joining it, and you cannot make it a habit to always be moving from one institution to another just because of the problems you have encountered in your current institution. Remember that your success is your personal responsibility, and your current school is just a stepping stone or a pillar to propel you in your academic journey. Therefore, even when others are complaining, always look at the positive side of the institution by reminding yourself that you are here just for a while and whatever you are passing through is coming to an end soon once you complete your studies. Always note that you cannot succeed in your academic journey regardless of the institution you are in, because what matters is the effort that you personally put in place to realize your dreams, and it's not the many complaints that you might have. Therefore, it is important to always note that the only way you can succeed in your academic journey, regardless of the type of institution you are in, is the effort that you personally put to realize your dreams and not the institution by its own. Therefore, always take care of your institution and love it as you make it your home. Don't forget that your academic journey has begun here, or it has brought you here in your current institution, and therefore appreciate it and do all what you can to leave it better than the way you have found it. In fact, a good student is bound to highly succeed in an institution where he or she is experiencing some challenges. This is because some challenges act as eye-openers reminding the student that he or she is just a student whose academic institution is just a channel of dreams, than a student who is in an institution that has no challenges, even though there is no such an institution, because everyone is bound to reside in a comfort zone and forget the key reason as to why he or she joined this institution. Pillar number 8. Pillar number 8 is setting for yourself realistic targets. Setting for yourself realistic targets. If you just commence your studies just like any other activity without any set target or objective, your studies will not serve you any purpose and you may never enjoy or succeed in your academic journey. You should therefore never undertake any academic activity without setting for yourself some targets in form of objectives, because those will be the driving force to your studies and they will act as motivators in your academic activities. It is therefore very important that you set for yourself a target or a goal that you would like to attain by the end of your studies or training within this institution immediately you join an institution of learning, because if you don't set it, you will never know when you are progressing or when you are deteriorating in academics. An example of such a goal would be, by the end of this course, I want to score an overall grade of an A, or by the end of this training, I wanted to pass with the first class honors. Then, once you have set your overall goal or target, you should break it down into smaller but achievable targets that you expect to attain after every term, semester, trimester, etc. Therefore, as you commence every term or semester, remember to set for yourself an overall target for that term or semester, which should be cumulatively generated from every subject or unit that you will take in that period. This means that in addition to setting for yourself an overall target for the term, you should do the same for every unit, every subject, every module that you will take. For example, if you are studying 4 subjects, units, or modules per term or semester, you need to set a target per subject based on your expected overall target for the term and the overall target by the end of your training or your studies. This is because once you have set for yourself an overall goal, such as a credit grade, then you should remember that to achieve that overall final grade, you require to attain similar or better grades per subject as you proceed with your studies. You should therefore always set a timely target per unit or subject and then put in place strategies on how you will attain them. However, if you don't know how the grading for your institution or your course is done for your studies, just liaise with your teacher for guidance. Once you have set for yourself a target at subject level based on your final goal, then put in place a strategy. Remember, you cannot be able to achieve those targets if you don't work towards them. Therefore, by setting targets for yourself, you will be able to continuously monitor your progress so that you can know whether you are on the right path towards achieving the overall goal or not. In order for you to be able to keep track of your progress, always record your grades or your achievements progressively. That is, after each set of results are out for every assessment, record them in a progress table. A progress table is a table that you draw in your revision book or in a pocket notebook, indicating every grade that you score per subject per term, as well as the overall grade per term. This table should contain results for all the terms for easy comparison. You then need to always compare the results you have attained in a current term with the results of the previous terms or semesters. Then, If you realize that your trend in performance is not progressive, that is, you are neither consistent nor are you improving in your performance, then you need to look at your conduct in relation to your studies. The best scenario should always be a situation where the trend in performance is on the positive. That is, when you compare your current performance with your previous performance, you are able to see some improvement. This would mean that you are always putting some extra effort towards bettering your performance. Otherwise, if you notice a negative trend, that would mean that you are deviating from your target ranges or seek for guidance from your subject teachers on the best way forward. Pillar number 9. Pillar number 9 is conducting your individualized studies effectively. Conducting your individualized studies effectively. It is always important that you prioritize your individual studies whenever you have no lessons to attend to, because it's during those individualized study sessions that you are able to remind yourself about what your teachers taught, and you are also able to read ahead and be able to assess yourself in order to measure the level of knowledge acquisition that you have been able to get in whatever content you are reading. In addition, you should always prepare yourself adequately for your private lesson by ensuring that you have all the tools you need for the lesson, such as a pen, a pencil, somewhere to write, amongst other requirements. Don't be a student who goes for a lesson unprepared and then you start disrupting others by borrowing their items. You should therefore remember where you left your reading at previously in the subject you'll be attending to, so that you can know the exact tools or materials you are going to need during your studies. Then, once you are ready for the lesson, choose an environment that is conducive for your studies by not only being comfortable for your reading, but it should also be free from distractions so that you can be able to concentrate in your study. Once you have all the requirements for your study, commence your session by briefly reminding yourself about what you read lastly in that subject by briefly going through it. This information is very important because it will help you to be able to connect what you read before or what you read before with what you are about to read. After that, set for yourself in your current session or lesson an objective. That is, ask yourself, what is it that you intend to achieve by the end of this study session? In order to help you answer this question, open your notes, a textbook or any other material from where you'll be reading from, then scan through it and set for yourself some questions that you would like to be able to answer by the end of your current study session. Then commence your reading by using effective reading methods such as reading while making some summarized notes, written using your own ones, not cramming the material, using personalized methods that can help you remember what you have read, and especially if it's a procedure that means systematic approach, such as using mnemonics, drawing something in relation to what you are reading, and such other activities. In addition, you should always sit upright and avoid folding your hands or putting them in pockets, and also dress in light clothing, all for the purposes of ensuring that you don't create an environment around your body that might provoke your body to fall asleep or make you get tired very fast. Also, remember to always take some short breaks in between your study sessions so as to help you relax and be getting tired easily. This also means that you should always avoid reading a single subject or unit for long at the expense of others. It is advisable that you read several subjects with short time spans per day than to read a single subject for too long. By so doing, you are able to break monotony while reading and enhance your interest in learning. In addition, if you will be reading several subjects or units within a certain period of time, it is important to commence your session by reading those subjects that might be more challenging than the others, and then you proceed to those ones that seem not to be challenging to you. Also, in case you realize that regardless of how many times you read a certain concept, you are not understanding what you are reading, don't allow it to waste much of your time, but just move on to another concept, and then you can try to read the handy concept some other time. Then, before you conclude your reading session, find out whether you have understood what you are reading by setting for yourself some questions, or pick the questions that you had set for yourself at the commencement of the lesson and attempt them as if it were a supervised assessment. Once you finalize with attempting them, mark your answers by looking for the answers from the notes that you are reading. Be very strict with yourself while marking your assessment, and do it as if you are a different individual from the individual that had set it. In case you and another student were reading the same topic during this study session together, you can both set questions for each other from what you are reading, and then each of you can attempt them, and then have each one of you mark for one another. If you don't pass in that assessment, it means that you need to revise that area more, which means that you can repeat that section next time before you proceed to the next section. Pillar number 10. Pillar number 10 is developing a positive attitude in all your subjects. Developing a positive attitude in all your subjects. As a student, you should always remember that a positive attitude towards a subject or a lesson tends to make you enjoy that lesson or subject, as well as finding it to be interesting, and your level of understanding improves. However, if you conceive in your mind that a certain subject is not good or is not interesting, you will also not be able to enjoy its lesson, and as such, you may find that lesson boring just because you fed your brain with a negative attitude about that subject. Therefore, even if you hear some students say that a certain teacher's lessons are normally boring, always remember that it's your responsibility to make them interesting. You should therefore always do something to make the lesson enjoyable to yourself as a student, such as by asking questions, answering questions, reading the topic to be taught before the lesson, amongst other such activities. You should never wait for the teacher to make the lesson interesting. So, whenever you come across an opportunity to be a member of a lesson that is said not to be interesting, or one which is being said to be boring, that should act as an opportunity to help you participate and fully prepare for such lessons so that you can derive happiness from them yourself. Otherwise, if you feed your mind with the dark notion that Mr. or Mrs. So's lesson is always boring, and you also decide just to sit in that lesson as a scarecrow, doing nothing during the lesson, your teacher's boredom plus your boredom will be equal to complete boredom, which will lead you towards gaining nothing from the lesson, and such a notion can lead you to failure in your academics, commencing with that subject. Whenever you experience such an occurrence, always remember that you are the one that has joined that school to acquire knowledge as a student, and it's not your teacher. In addition, You are the one who will be assessed in the subject content, and it's not your teacher. After all, you have just joined that institution and made that teacher there already teaching the same subject, and he or she will still remain there even after you have completed your studies. Therefore, always try to gain maximally from the lesson by playing your student role effectively, and by so doing, you will be sure to gain from that so-called boring lesson or boring teacher. So, always train yourself to be a partaker of what the teacher is teaching, even if you don't like his or her approach of teaching, just because your interest should not be on how the teacher is teaching, but on what he or she is teaching. So, whenever you get an opportunity to be taught, listen and listen attentively to what is being said. In addition, you should always treat all subjects equally, regardless of how you may find them, because all those subjects that were being taught plays a key role towards making you a better person than you are, and each of them has a unique contribution to your studies and to your life. Therefore, don't despise any, because if you do, you will have despised a certain path in your life, and that the path that you might have been neglecting may be the one that was meant to shape you and drive you towards your destiny. Pillar number 11. Pillar number 11 is preparing adequately for lessons. Preparing adequately for lessons. One of the greatest mistakes that many students make is to just attend to a lesson as a routine or a custom. As a result, some students end up not gaining much from such a lesson because even their concentration level goes down. It is therefore important that as you prepare adequately for the lesson, you be attending that lesson while you are already aware of what you expect to get. This is done by reminding yourself about what the teacher taught you previously, by revising on what, or by revising on it before the lesson, and then reading ahead of the teacher, so that as you attend that lesson, you can already be aware about what the teacher will be covering. Such preparation is very good because it does not only help you as a student to be able to connect what your teacher is teaching to what he or she had taught previously, but it also helps you improve your level of interest in the lesson, as well as making your teacher happy because he or she will acknowledge your status of preparedness. In addition, you will also be able to ask your teacher for any clarification on the facts that might have contradicted what you had read before, as well as asking your teacher any questions on what he or she might not have mentioned during the lesson, yet it was supposed to be part of that lesson. By so doing, you will not only be improving in your level of concentration in the class, but you will also be challenging your teacher to be well prepared for the lesson so that he or she can be able to handle any questions that might arise correctly. In addition, you should always set for yourself an objective that you expect to obtain during the lesson and write it down. That objective should be in a form of a question or questions which you expect the teacher to be able to answer during the lesson. Then, as the teacher is teaching, you will be very keen to listen to what the teacher will say during the lesson concerning the answers to the questions that you already have. Therefore, you should never attend a lesson blindly without an objective, because if you do so, your level of concentration in that lesson will be low and you might be distracted by such things as sleep. In addition, you should always ensure that you have put together and organized all the items that you may need for the lesson. Such items should include a pen, a pencil, the correct exercise book, and any other item that will be required during the lesson. This will prevent you from discovering that you don't have what you are required to have for the lesson immediately the teacher requests for it or requests you to do something. It is also important to make sure that you have familiarized yourself with the venue for the lesson in advance and not at the time when the lesson has begun. This will also help you to be able to attend the lesson on time and also give you adequate time to look for a chair before the lesson commences in case there are no chairs in the venue. Otherwise, if you try to search for the lesson's venue immediately the lesson has begun, you might waste a lot of time running to and fro, and you might also identify the venue only to find out that there is nowhere for you to sit. That's why it is also advisable that you are at the venue where your lesson will be taking place from a few minutes before the lesson commences, so that you can put it together the things that you require in order, and also ensure that you attend that lesson with ease and without failing. Pillar number 12. Pillar number 12 is participating actively in lessons. Participating actively in lessons. Whenever you attend to any lesson, you should participate in every activity that has been requested for by the teacher. Always remember that every activity carried out in the class during the lesson at the request of the teacher has an important role to play towards making you a better student, and as such, you should never ignore any, regardless of whether it's supposed to be done by students as a group or by you as an individual. Even if you find out that the other students are not participating, you should do it yourself, because in as much as you are several in the class, you are gaining knowledge and acquiring skills being impacted on you by the teacher as an individual. In addition, when assessment will be being undertaken, you will do it as an individual, regardless of how many students have been with you in class. After all, you have joined the school as an individual, and you were assigned a class as an individual in as much as you met the rest of the students. Therefore, you should never allow any student to stop you from participating in a lesson, and you should always ensure that within each lesson, you have at least attempted a question, you have asked a question, and that you have contributed an idea in the lesson. You should therefore never allow anyone to intimidate you due to the fact that you are actively engaged in the lesson. In addition, you should never get discouraged by what the rest of the students or teachers say about you in reference to the participation or to your participation in the class, regardless of what you have said or how you have said it. Even if the students laugh sarcastically after your response, always note that what they have laughed at is not you as an individual, but it's what you have said. When such happens, just congratulate yourself for having participated in the lesson, regardless of whether the answer was correct or the answer was wrong. After all, when you participate in a lesson and you get something wrong, your mind will be better set to know the answer for that question than for a student that has not participated. Usually, if students laugh at you for a wrong answer, you are bound to never forget the correct answer again. And if such a question comes in the exam, you will be able to remember that answer so vividly because of being laughed at for giving a funny answer. And therefore, you will score such a question correctly in the exam. Always remember that you don't always try something because you are sure of the answer, but you try so that you can know whether what you think you know will be correct or not. In this case, even if your response was wrong, you should note that it's only by trying and failing that you can be able to learn how to do things in a better way or respond in a better way. At all times as a student, always remember that even if you have tried something and failed, that does not mean that you are a failure, but what it simply means is that you have learned a new way of not repeating the same thing in the same way again. So keep on trying and never allow anyone to discourage you to a point of not wanting to attempt any question in a class or ask for any clarification. Therefore, when an opportunity opens in the class for you to participate in the lesson in any way, grasp that opportunity immediately and run with it. Whenever a teacher asks any question, don't start thinking of whether to participate or not, but just shoot your hand up and wait for the teacher to identify you and give you a chance. Even if the teacher does not identify you, congratulate yourself that you have at least raised your hand to speak out or do what you knew, and therefore keep on participating and never stop. Therefore, you should never allow anything to deter you from participating in a lesson, even if all the other students do not participate. After all, if the rest of the students fail to participate in the lesson or attempt the questions asked, that would be a very good opportunity for the teacher to give you an opportunity to attempt the question than when anyone is raising his or her hand. Pillar number 13. Pillar number 13 is respecting other students' opinions. Respecting other students' opinions. Always remember that you are a student in a class just like the other students, and therefore it's always important that you give them the respect that they deserve, just in the same manner you would expect from them. Always give them time to air their views, regardless of your feelings or opinions about what they have said, and respect their opinions. Never laugh at another student or discourage another student by speaking negatively about him or her. Always remember that when a student participates in a lesson, he or she is contributing towards improving your individual life as a student, because whatever that student will say during the lesson will add value to your life, regardless of whether it was correct or not. This is because if the answer to the question was correct, you will have gained some knowledge from that student. And if the answer given was wrong, you will have known how to not answer such a question yourself. After all, why laugh at a student who has tried while you yourself has already not even tried? This is because the student that tried or attempted something is much better than the one that has not attempted or even tried to attempt. So, the student that has attempted a question and gotten it wrong is much better than the one that has not even attempted. Therefore, as a student, you should always encourage each other to participate in a lesson as you also do it. This is because as you all participate in the lesson, regardless of the answers you will be giving, you will also be learning from each other. You will be making the lesson interesting, and you will also be encouraging your teachers to feel good and enjoy teaching you. Pillar number 14. Pillar number 14 is being confident in whatever you do or say. Being confident in whatever you do or say. One of the ways to identify students that lack confidence is students murmuring when a question is asked in class without any student volunteering himself or herself to speak out. In addition, lack of confidence is visible when a teacher asks students to volunteer to do something and none of the students wants to do it. Therefore, as a student, you should never murmur during lessons when anyone says anything or when a question is asked. This is because by murmuring, you will neither be helping yourself nor will you be helping the others. Always remember that it's good to be heard concerning whatever you have to say. So, instead of murmuring, you should just raise your hand and your teacher will always identify you and give you an opportunity to speak. Always remember that you don't raise your hand to attempt a question just because you know the correct answer, but you do so in order to find out whether what you thought that you knew is correct or wrong, so that your teacher and the other students can assist. You should therefore always raise your hand in class whenever you want to say something, and always avoid chorus answers unless the teacher requests so. It is always better to maintain silence in class than to murmur, but it's also very discouraging for the teacher to ask a question and then you all fail to raise your hands. Therefore, whenever the teacher asks a question, treat that as an opportunity to be assessed and to help you know whether what you think you know is correct or not. Remember that as you participate in the lesson by raising your hand, you are not only respecting your fellow students and your teacher, but you are also recognizing that everybody else's comment matters and that everyone's opinion needs to be respected. After all, every student needs an opportunity to participate in the lesson and be listened to, and the best way to do so is by every student raising his or her hand and then being given an opportunity to contribute by the teacher. And then, if you feel that you have a different opinion, you request the teacher to give you an opportunity to air your opinion. However, the greatest disservice and injustice that you can commit on yourself is to fail to participate or attempt the questions in class when the teacher requests for it, just because you are not sure of the answer. Such a behavior is not only disrespectful to the teacher, but it's also very discouraging and demotivating. And if such a behavior continues, the teacher might always assume that you all know the answer to every question asked in advance, even before it's asked, and finally, that the teacher might cease from asking you questions in class. If a teacher makes an assumption that every student is refusing to raise his or her hand when a question is asked, simply because every student is aware of the answer, such an assumption can be very disastrous to the student's academics. This is because neither the teacher nor the students will be able to know whether the students had understood what he or she was being taught or not. It is therefore important to always ensure that as a student, you confidently participate in the lesson as a mandatory requirement if you are interested in achieving success in your subjects and in your academics. Never fear to try and never fear to get it wrong, because you are a student to learn what is correct. And if you knew the correct answers to every question and the correct solution to every problem, then you could not be a student. Therefore, as long as you are a student, train yourself to try everything when given an opportunity to do so by your teacher. Pillar number 15. Pillar number 15 is respecting every teacher. Respecting every teacher. If you like to be blessed by God to succeed in your academics, you have no other alternative but to respect every teacher that is teaching you any subject, regardless of how he or she looks, or how he or she behaves, or how he or she speaks, because they are your academic parents. Always remember that your teachers are also human beings just like you, but the difference is that they possess expert power in their areas of specialization, and it's that knowledge and skills that they possess so that you can become like them or even become much better than them. Therefore, avoid comparing your teachers in a negative aspect, because even if you say that one teacher is better than the other, the fact remains that each teacher has a unique and a special role to play towards making you a better person than the way you are, and that's why you are a student while he or she is a teacher. Always remember that it's not the teacher's appearance or his or her method of talking or how he or she speaks that is important to you, but what is important is the content that he or she is handling. So, even if humanly you might have a feeling that you don't like a certain teacher, you should like what he or she is a better person. And if you respect what he or she is teaching, then it means that you have to respect the teacher himself or herself so that he or she can reciprocate and do his or her level best to ensure that you understand what he or she is teaching you. It is very important to respect every teacher, regardless of any personal differences or feelings that you might have towards the teacher. Remember that respect is the key towards gaining respect too. So, due to the fact that whoever is teaching you is a teacher that has been found and proved to be competent in whatever he or she is teaching, you should always learn to obey and respect that teacher regardless of his or her personality. It is by showing respect with every means possible to make sure that you understand what he or she is teaching. However, if you show disrespect to the teacher, that teacher will humanly not be motivated to go extra mile to ensure that you understand what he or she is teaching. As a result, such a teacher will just teach you normally without putting any extra effort and without caring about whether you understand what he or she is teaching. Will just teach you because it is his or her duty to teach you, but he or she will not care about you in terms of whether you are grasping or understanding his or her subject matter or not. Therefore, always be obedient and respectful to the teacher as long as he or she is playing his or her rightful role as a teacher and not requesting for any favors from you, student. In addition, you should never compete with your teacher regardless of his or her status. Even if your teacher tells you something that you don't like, or he or she responds to you in a way that you don't like, always respect him or her and never ever imagine of reciprocating or speaking at him or her. Yes, it's true that sometimes the teacher might hurt you through his or her speech or reaction to you, but there is no justification for you to speak back at the teacher. Therefore, as long as the teacher does not want to take an advantage of you by making requests that are outside his or her mandate, or making requests that have nothing to do with your academics, there is no reason to disobey and disrespect the teacher. However, if you realize that the teacher wants to exploit you or misuse you by making requests, you can take a step to seek for protection from another teacher by either approaching another teacher on the matter or by speaking to the teacher in a respectful manner or by seeking for guidance from the teacher in charge of students' welfare in your institution. You should therefore never fight with a teacher or quarrel with him or her. You should always control your emotions and never lose control and try to solve you are stronger than the teacher or not. Remember, you can never be a student if there is no teacher to take you through your academics. Pillar number 16. Pillar number 16 is confiding in someone about your challenges. Confiding in someone about your challenges. As a student, you may experience some challenges, some of which might really overwhelm you. However, you should always remember that there is always a way out. But the secret towards realization of the solution to the challenge you might be facing is by speaking out about what you are passing through. In fact, the greatest killer to students in dreams is not the level of challenges they may be experiencing, but it's the fear to speak out. And thus a student dies slowly from it starts to manifest from outside. So why should you die silently when someone somewhere has a solution to you, to what you are passing through? So, due to the fact that while in school, you may always experience some situations or challenges that you are not sure of what to do about them, always confine yourself with somebody that can be of help to you. Never ever keep silent or fear to share what you are passing through with somebody that you trust, but not somebody that may take advantage of your situation. However, regardless of whatever might happen, it's better to share your issue with someone than to let it drive you into depression. It's better to always speak out your issue to somebody that can listen to you, regardless of whether that person will be of help to you or not, and never mind what that person will say. Just by having someone listen to your issue, that is already a step towards your healing. In addition, if your institution has a teacher in charge of guidance and counseling or in charge of students' affairs, make sure to confide your issue with that person or with such an office. Never ever, regardless of how it might sound like, as long as you feel that it's affecting you in any way. So always speak out and let someone know what you are passing through. In addition, if you find that you are facing challenges in specific subjects, remember to directly approach the teacher that is in charge of teaching that subject and express your problem. This is because this is the best person that can be able to effectively address issues related to his or her subject. In the case of around the institution, telling other students and teachers about how the teacher is teaching poorly or how he or she is poorly handling you. Humanly, if a teacher receives complaints through other teachers about his or her subject, yet the students that he or she teaches have not spoken to him or her, such a teacher might develop a negative attitude towards that class and his or her level of delivery might deteriorate. Therefore, if a student or as a class, you have some issues you like the teacher to address concerning his or her subject, inform him or her during the lesson, but in a way that shows respect and concern on achievement and the test. However, if such a teacher does not listen, then you can air your grievances through your class's representative, who can then follow the set protocol to have the matter addressed. However, as an individual student, you should always feel free to approach your subject teacher on any matter concerning his or her subject, and for sure, he or she will do his or her level best to assist you. But if that teacher fails to listen to you, you can speak in charge of your department or section, or just report the matter to any other staff in charge of students' welfare or anyone in the administration. Pillar number 17. Pillar number 17 is managing your time effectively. Managing your time effectively. Time management is always very important because it enables you to do everything within the set timelines. Therefore, ensure that you effectively manage your time while in school so that you don't fail, such as submitting assignments, attending lessons or classes, sleeping, amongst other activities that are required from you as a student. For this to be possible, ensure that you have with you a personal wristwatch from which to access time. Even if your institution allows the use of smartphones or other devices through which you can confirm or check time, a good student should always have a wristwatch. Does not need to be very advanced because you just need a watch that can basically display time. In fact, a student without a wristwatch is not a good student because using other devices to check time can be destructive based on the environment you are studying or learning from. Once you have a wristwatch, the next tool that you must have is a detailed personal timetable that should be inclusive of your individualized study time and revision lessons, the scheduled class lessons, and your other weekly routine, all your weekly routine activities and the class lessons for the week in that detailed personal timetable. Therefore, the very first thing that you need to do on the very first day you join an institution for a certain course is to liaise with your department so that it can provide you with your class timetable from where you can make a copy for yourself. Then, with the use of that class timetable, make activities that you expect to carry out each day for all the days of the week, which should also include the lessons as scheduled in the class timetable. This personal overall timetable should clearly indicate what you expect to do every day from the time you wake up to the time you sleep. In addition, this timetable should also indicate which subject you will be privately reading or revising when and which day. It is important to ensure that your daily private study or revision lessons done towards the end in class the following day. So, if for example you have an English lesson the day that is following, for example tomorrow, ensure that you have created some time today to read that subject. This method is very effective in not only revising what you learned previously, but it also prepares you for the following day's lessons by reviewing what the teacher taught you previously and what he or she expects to teach the following day. In addition, ensure that you also integrate in this timetable those routine activities that you expect to undertake each day of the week, commencing from Monday to Sunday. Those major activities should be done. Such activities should include the waking up time, which can be set using the wristwatch, time for dressing, breakfast time, cleaning time, prayer time, time to attend a religious group forum, sleeping time, tea time, lunch time, and such other routine activities that you must do on each day of the week. Once this detailed timetable is complete, have it strategically placed at a point which is accessible to you anytime and from anywhere. Have it drawn there, then make copies of the same and fix one in your sleeping room or box if you have it, and another copy can be fixed on the very first page in a revision exercise book or in any other book that you carry frequently with you. In addition, once you have made your personal timetable, remember to adhere to it to the letter. Don't be a person who always procrastinates by postponing activity timetable, and if it happens that you do a certain unit during the time scheduled for another, for example, if you find out that you have an assignment for a certain subject that needs to be done urgently, and then you realize that in your timetable, you have no provision for that unit that day during the time you have scheduled to do another unit, but remember to compensate for that lesson by temporarily using that other subject's lesson. That is the one whose assignment you did for the subject that you missed courtesy of the assignment. Therefore, don't allow any student make you fail to adhere to your timetable. Always remember that you join this institution just in the same way that you board a vehicle ending a certain route. Then, immediately after boarding, you meet other travelers that you are all in this vehicle traveling, you share ideas, talk to each other, and do other activities. But no traveler makes another one change his or her mind from alighting at the destination when he or she reaches there. For that reason, inasmuch as you have joined an institution of learning and joined a company of other students and classmates, remember that each of you is individually pursuing his or her personal studies and success. Therefore, you should never allow any student to make you change your mind according to your timetable. This means that even if a student requests you to revise with him or her a certain subject, yet that is not the subject that you have scheduled at that time, just inform that student when you will be revising for that unit so that this student can join you. In other words, you should always discipline yourself to remain focused on your timetable unless in situations that are unavoidable. For example, if your teacher requests the students to meet for a certain level when you are supposed to be having your personal and private studies. However, even if such a situation arises, remember to compensate for the lesson lost to another subject by revising for the missed subject during the lesson for the subject that you attended a lesson for with the teacher. Pillar number 18. Pillar number 18 is being organized. Being organized. It is vital for you as a student to ensure that you are well organized in everything you do, because as an organized student, you will be able to attend to every aspect of your academic life as planned. Otherwise, without being organized in everything you do, that disorder is bound to bring about unexpected occurrences and unintended surprises for us. One of the areas you need to organize yourself in is in your dressing. You need to always be dressed in a presentable manner, regardless of the type or quality of clothes that you wear. You don't need to dress in expensive clothes so that you can be seen to be smart, but it's how you take care and maintain your clothes that matter. Therefore, it is important to ensure that your clothes are always well kept, ironed where possible, well folded, and properly stored in your student box. Remember that you should always